Hey there, I'm Pete Townsend, and this is Money Never Sleeps. We look inside the minds of entrepreneurs and at the crossover of startups, enterprise, finance, technology, and life as we know it. This week, joining the show once again is Laura Walsh, as she helps me to unpack the latest whirlwind of events in crypto, finance, and politics. Laura is a Techstars All Star Mentor, advisor, founder, Web3 OG, and friend. I'll link all of Laura's details in the show notes on moneyneversleeps.ie so you can get in touch with her. You can also drop us a review on moneyneversleeps.ie/rate right there. In this episode, we break down Trump's Memecoin Mania, what Gary Gensler's departure from the SEC means for crypto, and how institutional finance is leading further into blockchain and tokenized assets. Plus, we dive into the bigger picture of regulatory clarity, crypto adoption, and a little story about how we can all learn something from how the Irish whiskey stakeholders rallied support for tariff exclusion a few years back. There's a lot to get into, so let's jump right in with Laura Walsh, all right here on Money Never Sleeps. Laura Walsh, how are you?
Cold, but good.
We are technically, I'm at a higher altitude than, not a higher altitude, a higher latitude than you.
You are for the first time in a long time.
Yes. You're in sunny Ireland and you're in chilly Quebec.
Yes, it's very cold. We've got quite a bit of snow, I use the metric system, so I apologize. But we're about, this morning we were minus 25 Celsius. So I don't know what that is in quote unquote freedom units. So I don't.
Freedom units, is that what they're called?
Freedom units. Freedom units. So sorry, I don't know what that is. So when people look, the whole inaugural parade being moved inside, people were kind of laughing, like Canadians looking at the US holding inauguration parade and the inauguration inside because it's too cold. And there was a guy outside Sunday night. I want to say we went to a concert and we're kind of wandering around. There's a guy out in shorts downtown Ottawa and sandals, no socks, sandals, just wandering around. I think it was about minus 17, but minus 20 with the wind chill. I mean, okay. I'm not that far, but we're kind of little okay with the cold.
Well, then we are looking at about minus 10, minus 13 in freedom units or Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah, so, we were minus 25.
Yeah, that's
morning,
cold.
Yeah.
That is cold.
It's cold. It's cold. You've got to cover your hands. Frostbite is real.
No swimming.
Very real. No swimming. No swimming.
All right.
It's all frozen. The lake's all frozen anyway. We can walk and skate on it, but we can't swim in it.
And thank you again for joining our Techstars Web3 screening committee last week.
That was
really
fun.
Appreciate that.
It's always fun.
Definitely. Your status as a Techstars All Star Mentor definitely helps in terms of your contribution to the screening committee. So thank you. With yourself
and mouth.
Shannon Lowe was on, and Alejandro Gutierrez and Amor Sexton, and a shout out to a few others as well. So there's so much going on. There is so much going on. And I was just talking to Hugh McGurr about this. Shout out to you. And you get this feeling every now and again that we're on the cusp of something and it just feels like floodgates are starting to open. And but we've had this feeling before. But yes. I think it's just at the government level, at the institutional level, that there's just so much attention and focus on crypto, on digital finance, digital assets, this whole space, decentralization, that something's got to give. And in speaking about looking at all these different Techstars projects and picking the 8 that we're going to invest in this year, so much of the market analysis that we do is not on the basis of what is the market today, because it's tiny. It's what is the market going to be in 5 years? And it's just waiting for some of these floodgates to open up to start allowing us to progress towards all of these wonderful expectations of finance moving on chain, right? Being a big part of it. Value transfer moving on chain at large across the world. So, but there's tons to step through today. So,
and it never stops. It's a fire hose. Let's try to navigate the stream, I imagine.
Yeah, just take a step back from the world as it's happening every minute, and we could probably be looking at the news flow coming in over the course of the next 45 minutes while we're recording this, Laura, and see that the world has
Something's changed
by the time we get through this. So, getting started, Gary Gensler, as he's been called in the press over the last few days, Gary Gensler, that he is gone from the SEC. Woohoo! All right, wonderful. And crypto-friendly Mark Uyeda is appointed on an interim basis. So he will be the acting chair before Trump's pick Paul Atkins is confirmed by the Senate. I wonder if crypto is now on the Atkins diet.
Oh,
Thank you. He has been critical of SAB 121, which is Staff Accounting Bulletin 121 that prohibits banks from having crypto on their balance sheet. We hopefully will see that repealed, which will start to open these floodgates as well. I did see a collection of tweets there on Gary Gensler going. My favorite one was him wearing a McDonald's uniform with vampire teeth in his mouth, but crying, looking at his own frustration with handling a hot package of French fries, McDonald's French fries, obviously. So that is his next job. It's being anticipated, but we'll see what he does.
There's a lot of layers to that one.
There is a lot of layers to that one. Are you happy to see Gary Gensler?
Yes, because I don't think he handled things really in a productive way. But to be fair, I don't know if he was directed by the previous administration to handle things that way. And it was kind of, hey, I really don't have a choice here. I have to enact, the laws and regulations that are brought to me as they are, just because of his history. Because when he came in, everyone thought he was, hey, this is great. We've got Gary Gensler. He used to teach courses on Bitcoin. This is going to be good for us. But it wasn't. So I'm probably going to reserve a little bit of judgment on that one. I know very, very not popular in the industry that we're in to not just jump in with judgment. I don't like how the SEC went through litigation instead of a really comprehensive regulatory framework that companies could work in and clear and consistent guidelines rather than, we don't like this, let's sue. Just trying to get basic rules and regs down about how we can work in the industry, and he was not helpful for that. So glad to see him gone. Might really hold back the full weight of, I hope you die in a fire.
Yeah, no, the hatred obviously isn't there for anybody.
Yeah.
I see the New York Yankees insignia in my head when I say that, but that's still there. I can't get rid of it. With Gensler, I met him in person. I've said it before on the show. Very nice guy, way before he did the SEC. Knows plenty about blockchain from his time at MIT. So this was an overly politicized situation. And also, I heard the head of policy for Coinbase talking about this, that in the EU, we have one regulatory approach here at the EU level. There's been very progressive regulation that is now being implemented with MiCA for crypto, and crypto assets have been defined. Unfortunately, the US, we have the SEC and the CFTC both jockeying for position around this. And that's been the problem, is that it's fallen between two stools. So he was handed an impossible task, but he didn't do himself any favors with the approach of being so obstinately, no, I will not define this, or no, security regulation as a standard just fine for these things, which is just very myopic. But again, who was pulling the strings on that chin when it came to him saying those things? Okay, but on the positive side, we have now the SEC have formed a new crypto task force spearheaded by Hester Peirce.
Yeah, seeing that is really encouraging. I'll not talk about what I feel about David Sachs being crypto czar, with the talk about them just talking about their Solana bags and dumping on it. It's pretty distasteful. So,
well, he fits right in with the crowd, right? So, but at least, I mean, the only saving grace of that appointment of David Sachs as the crypto and AI czar for under Trump is that at least he's a former startup founder, an advisor, an investor. He is intelligent about this stuff. He may have some crazy opinions and drive, but, at least there's someone in there who knows their stuff. I didn't think Elon was going to be the czar himself. So, but we know that
we gotta
Elon,
stop naming things czar. This is a very odd title to have in an American system. Like, why is somebody a border czar? Like, did people not understand what czar actually means?
Yeah, but in any way, shape, or form, just wonderful to see Hester Peirce take this leadership position with this crypto task force, because she's always been the one with the supportive opinions coming out of the SEC decisions in terms of the crypto position. So obviously she's the right person to be doing this. in the face of these regulatory changes, we have some blowback a bit in terms of, okay, well, listen, whatever regulation is out there, we're just going to taunt it and tempt it and test it a little bit with these things called meme coins with Trump and Melania themselves. And CNN is reporting this. Trump's meme coin is a reminder of crypto's dumbest use case. Okay, there was a good counterpoint to that Kevin DeGods published on Twitter, and we'll put that into the show notes as well. I've described meme coins to people as tokenizing or monetizing emotion and virality. There's a combination of betting, buyer beware, creators trying to get their content seen, having fun with pushing a token out around the world. There's all different ways to look at this, but the most important thing is caveat emptor, buyer beware. So without even selling a single token, the Trump organization raked in an estimated $58 million in fees, not in token value, but in fees in a single day with the Trump and Melania meme coins. So, and this was according to researcher and former Coinbase executive Connor Grogan. So 80% of the coin supply is held by Trump organization affiliates, CIC Digital and Fight LLC. Wonderful, wonderful name. Anyone out there can launch a meme coin. You can run up the price and walk away. According to Forbes, between 40,000 and 50,000 new meme coins are created every day. A bunch of those, the majority of them are being done on the Solana blockchain, and they have a combined market value of $100 billion. There's a platform called pump.fun that lets you launch these quite easily. And it's basically, I described this to my parents after I picked them up at Dublin Airport yesterday, right? That they know what a meme is in terms of you get a funny picture and you put some witty, sarcastic text at the bottom of that. And that potentially could go viral on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They got that. Like, wonderful. So take that whole context of that moment, of that feeling, of that emotion, and instead of just circulating that on social media, that you make a joke out of it as a token. And that is what circulates. And people are just buying and selling and hoping that they turn a profit, that they buy lower than what they sell it at. But what happens is that the creator of that token can set the smart contract on that token so that fees, trading fees, accumulate every time that changes hands. And that's how the Trump organization made $58 million on the pump and pump and pump of the token prices of the Trump meme coin and the Melania meme coin. What was it, up to 60 billion in value? Is that how high it went?
63 billion. I think it went to 63 billion in value at the peak because it hit, if I'm not mistaken, it hit 70 to 75. I want to say 75 because I was following it for a bit. Down around 43 right now? 41. Okay. 41.50 right now.
That's not bad. And all those trades, every trade, ting, 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 drops a bucket.
That's the thing. If it's programmed into the actual contract and into the token that there's a percentage, there's a fee every time you trade, it doesn't matter if it goes down. That's still a sell. That's still a fee. A fee is a fee is a fee. And it happens. So he's still making money either way. He was asked about it while he was signing his executive orders last night. And he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know since I launched it. Of
course.
He did not say that other companies launched it for him, which is right in the documentation that Trump is hands off on this. And then he said, no, I launched it. But also how much has it made so far? And then he said it's peanuts for those guys.
Yeah.
Peanuts for those guys.
Chump change.
So the wallet that owned 80% right off the jump moved, sold, transferred. You know, the tweet from, I think it was World Liberty Fi was that they're reallocating for treasury management. 500 million gone.
500
first day. 500 million gone out of the wallet. So there's a whole list of tokens that they diversified into. Bitcoin, Ethereum, some were some other very odd coins I'm not super familiar with, but I think Ripple is in there, XRP is in there.
Was there any detail on at what point that the total market cap of the meme coins was when they sold to claw out $500 million?
I'd have to go back and look at that, but I think
Okay.
it's probably
It
Pico
was,
Top.
it was a tiny part of it. And so it's just managing the whole,
Yeah.
watching all the trades, obviously doing so not just
Hmm.
with your eyeballs, but with some analytical tools. It says, all right,
Absolutely.
at what point are we going to start drawing down,
Hmm.
selling some tokens in here without moving the markets down a huge chunk so that we can claw out some value, gone, sold, move it out into another asset. You can actually look at all of this stuff on chain and see
Hmm.
it as it's happening. So it's that you have an incoming US president who
Hmm.
is clearly monetizing and building up a war chest for his post-political career, but also his family's dealings now that,
Hmm.
for the forever, because this will live on. And,
Yeah.
it's dodgy. It's dodgy.
Well, I'm going to put some caveats on the legal bit
Okay.
because you know as well as I know, launching a meme coin in the United States is in a really gray area.
It is.
Maybe the timing was very good because he wasn't technically president yet. Just a real quick point. The team held 80%. I think it's around 85% of the tokens now because they bought some back. The list now, the top 10 holders own 91.3% of the circulating supply, which means that if any of those people want to move anything, the price is going to move. So it's a bit way too concentrated right now. The trading volume has obviously gone down. The amount of traders has gone down. The amount of trades have gone down, but it's still really high. Anecdotally, there are people asking about like, what is a meme coin? What is this? And so,
Mhm.
I mean, there's arguments on both sides of, yeah, hey, he's on board. He's done what we couldn't do, and that's onboard a whole bunch of people into crypto. But it's frustrating when you've been in the industry as long as we have, when you're really trying to fight for things of like ideals and things the way things should be. And we're actually trying to create something of value and substance and this. And then everyone just blows it up and goes, ha, crime.
Yep.
Crime is awesome. Screw it, crime. Let's go, crime. And not just one crime, two crimes, three crimes. There's a Baron token. If one of his advisors launched a token, rugged it immediately, got told he rugged it, and he said, I don't know what a rug is. What are you talking about? The volume, the price was going down, so I sold. I don't understand why you would not do that. Everybody would do that. He's Ryan Fournier. What is
Okay.
his name? It's all on Twitter. He rugged. It was a just classic rug. His pastor, who did the inaugural benediction, launched a meme token.
Did he?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Like this is just it's gotten, and I mean people who I don't want to call them purists, but people who've been here long enough, they're like, come on, man, this is forget it. Like people have been it's like an existential crisis. I think it's broken people's brains, some people's brains. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore. More than one person I've seen is like, no, I'm out. You know what? This is BS. This is the worst of the worst of the worst. And
Y-
we're just seeing, unaltered greed. And I think it's always been there, but it's just so in your face now.
Well, something's got to give.
Mm.
And explaining it to mom and dad, I think they might have raised a similar point. And I said, with every new technology comes speculation.
Hmm.
At times that is tempered, at times that runs rampant. We're just going through a period of time where it's running rampant. People taking advantage of the tools in front of them to fuel
Hmm.
speculation and to fuel gambling, effectively,
Yep.
is what it is. So I do have hope that we'll get through this. And it was Kevin DeGods on crypto Twitter who said, think about what this means. When the president himself launches a token, how can regulators claim crypto is too risky? When the government holds
Mm.
Bitcoin, how can they say it has no value?
Yeah.
When litigation stops, what's holding companies back? TradFi, big brands, whatever. The floodgates are about to open. This has put it into the mainstream. This has put it back
Hmm.
into top of the rankings in Google. How can I buy crypto? You know,
Hmm.
so there is a big bad side to it. There is a optimistic side to it that I always try to find. And but again, we'll see what the news cycle looks like on this one. We'll see how
There's
long
a
this
like,
takes to die out.
yeah, I mean, obviously, there's also the national security point of view. If you're looking at this, this is it's not untraceable though. So to say it's untraceable is a fallacy.
Yeah.
But if you want to curry favor with the current administration, what's an easy way to move money out of, let's say, questionable regimes? The possible even if that doesn't happen, there's a perception of this. Like, hey, I'll just buy, $1 billion worth of your token. Pumps the value. There's, even if that is not what will happen, the thing that the actual appearance or optics or anything that's a possibility of an alternative influence stream
Yep.
outside of his hotels, outside of whatever family enrichment things that could or will or have happened. This is a much smoother, less scrutinized way. And so many things are lining up with this. I had a call with Xi Jinping, and my token launched on Chinese exchanges first. And even if all of that is all circumstantial and all coincidence, the optics, the appearance, the office of the President of the United States of America should not be seen as quote unquote open for business. It should not be open for buying my shoes, buy my steaks, buy my ties, buy my gold coins, buy my NFTs, it should not. There's no wall there anymore.
But Trump doesn't care.
I know he doesn't
care.
That's
And
the whole thing. He doesn't care.
He proved in the first 4 years that none of that means anything to him on tradition and what presidents should and shouldn't do unless it's written in law. Well, even that.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Even written in law, yeah.
I had some expectation we'd see a kindler, gentler Trump this time around, but with all those executive orders he signed in the last couple
Absolutely
of days and, rewriting history, that, it's just what I said to David the fishmonger, who I talked to about crypto loans that we'll talk about in a bit, that I said to David the fishmonger, I'm like, listen, it's just 4 years, and someone overheard me and said, but a lot can happen in 4 years.
4 years.
May he try to get the U.S. Constitution changed to allow him to continue.
Trying for birthright citizenship now, and that's a constitutional amendment that requires, if I'm not American, but if I'm correct, 2/3 of Congress and the Senate to change an amendment of the Constitution. So, I mean, it doesn't mean he won't try.
No, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. He's trying some other things too with Canada and Mexico. What are you seeing going on there?
Oh yeah, we love that up here. I mean, so Justin Trudeau stepped down.
Yep.
If you are not familiar with the Westminster parliamentary system, we do not directly elect our leaders in Canada. We vote for a party, just like the UK.
Yep.
Where we get our parliamentary system from. We vote for a party. We don't vote for the person. We vote for a party in our local riding called an MP, a member of parliament, and the party that gets the most votes is invited by, well, now it's His Majesty, I guess, His Majesty's official representative in Canada to form the government. He stepped down as Liberal leader, and the Liberal Party has a minority government, which is something that happens here quite a lot, because Canadians might like what you're saying, but they might not like you quite enough to trust you to do what you say you're going to do. And so we'll elect a minority government with a strong opposition to kind of keep those checks and balances going. So he stood down as Liberal leader. Now they have to have a leadership race, kind of like primaries in the States, so that you get your candidates for president, right? But anywho, we've got our own little mini MAGA movement up here.
MAGA.
Well, they call it Maple. No, they call it Maple MAGA. I am not joking.
Oh my God.
Maple MAGA. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So it's a bit of a grievance culture. Western Canada is complaining about Eastern Canada, that, you get all of our oil and you hate us and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we just don't want you to act like yahoos. And that's it. But so Justin Trudeau stood down. He's still prime minister because there's not an election yet until there's a new Liberal leader. But in the interim, what Donald Trump's threats, I suppose, I mean, you can call it lots of things. He's trolling us. He's trying to get a better deal. what have you. He's going full on America first and doesn't want our cars or our lumber or our water or our electricity or our oil, whatever you want to call it. What has happened is that has united more Canadians, and we've been more united than we have in the past, I'd say it's like decade and a half or more against this. Now, like I said, there's the contingent of Maple MAGA who are like, yeah, come and take us over. Yeah, come and take us over. And what it does is had like a visceral effect, a visceral knee-jerk reaction in Canadians, like, oh yeah, F you, buddy. Get the hell
Yeah.
out of here. You're a traitor. And I think what people are losing sight of is not Canadians fighting Americans. It's against whatever this expansionist manifest destiny doctrine seems to be. And the rhetoric is concerning.
Hmm.
25% tariffs on everything coming out of Canada because Donald Trump says we are subsidizing Canada to the tune of $200 billion. That's
No.
a trade deficit. And either he really doesn't understand, one, what a trade deficit is, and two, what a tariff is, or he's pretending he doesn't just to rile up his base and get,
It's
what have you.
chaos. It's creating these chaotic news cycles just to hide other stuff that's going on, or perhaps to change the news and change what's going on. But this expansionist manifesto, like you said, Xi Jinping in China has the ongoing thing with Taiwan. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Putin has Ukraine. So Trump's
Yep.
like, well, I want one too. And could it be
Well, I want
Canada? Could
Greenland
it be
then.
Greenland? You know,
Could it be Panama?
and could that be, a deep psychological thing where he's like, I want one too? Or is it just,
Yeah.
twisting the news cycle and trying to get focus on certain things? I don't know. But yeah,
But you can't take it. That's the thing. You can take it as, oh, he's negotiating. I mean, he negotiated the last time. We still call it NAFTA up here. I know it's USMCA or whatever, but we
yeah,
still call it NAFTA too. He negotiated that. That was under him. So him saying that this trade deal is unfair, it's a bit Orwellian,
yeah,
new speak is new
definitely.
speak is new speak. So not to scare people with saying, oh, it's Orwell. It's just, look over here, shiny object. Don't pay attention to what I said, 4.5 years ago or so, because that was negotiated during his last term and he thought he got a great deal.
Yep.
Now he doesn't think he got a great deal. Okay, fine. If you want another deal, come to the table in good faith. He's not coming to the table in good faith.
Yeah. Yeah. This is all deal making. And,
Mm.
there was something came out in the Irish Business Post just in the last couple of days where a deal making that was done successfully by the Irish a number of years ago with Trump. And that it was back in 2019 and it had to do with US tariffs, with new US tariffs that would
Mhm.
have put this 25% tariff on top of whiskey, Irish whiskey, as being a product coming from any country.
Mhm.
So apparently what happened, and this is from the Business Post, which is paywalled, but I'll put the link in anyway, is that in 2019, Congressman Richie Neal, originally from Springfield, Massachusetts, where I grew up, and he is a Democrat, but he was persuaded to call Robert Emmet Lighthizer. Okay. Robert Emmet was the Irish nationalist and revolutionary at the end of the 1700s, the beginning of 1800. So another Irish name,
Mhm.
who was Trump's top trade representative. And then he made contact with Mick Mulvaney, who was then the White
Mm.
House chief of staff. They smoothed things over with Trump's director of the Office of Trade, who they needed to be informed. And then finally, Dennis Shea, again, another Irish name, Neil, Emmett, Mulvaney, Shea, second in command of the U.S. Trade Representative's Office. And he was a person with specific responsibility for the tariff list, was brought in. In the end, Shea called up one of Irish Whiskey's representatives and personally informed them they had been removed from the hit list. So smooth a few things over. Easier said than done, taking one product being Irish whiskey from one
Yeah.
small country versus the entire trade going between the US and Canada. And obviously I don't think this is going to end well if Trump does anything about it, because it's only going to result in US gas prices going up.
The higher prices for everything. I
Yeah.
mean, we sell you discounted crude. Yes, we know we can't refine it. Yes, we know that. That's why we built pipelines. But you can only refine ours. And it's set up that way. So, I mean, I hate to say like what Trudeau said, But like he said, if you don't want our oil and gas, you're going to have to get it from Venezuela or perhaps from China. Pick your poison. Not only that, I don't think he realizes, or maybe he does and doesn't care. I think it's about 8 northern states that get most of your electricity from Canada.
Mm.
Again, discounted rates. New York will go dark.
New York is Canadian electricity.
New York State will go quite dark. Yes.
Wow.
So that's the whole thing. But it's gotten uglier
Well,
now, quite uglier.
speaking of building a war chest, whether that be at the personal financial fortune level or at the government treasury level, that in other news, we saw defense, a Techstars grad, they raised $16 million. Now that
Good to
compared
them.
to the $58 million in fees that the Trump tokens generated over a few days,
Yeah,
that's a smaller amount, but that's still a huge amount for a
it
crypto
is.
startup to raise. Now, this is their
Yes.
Series A, and they're well on their way with this. And congrats to Clarice and Chris and the whole crew at Defense. Obviously, part of the Techstars family, and Clarice is a mentor
hmm
with us as well for
Yep.
Techstars Web3. But they're expanding their crypto wallet infrastructure. And I've seen, which is wonderful to see, Defense,
Yes.
DFNS, being used as the core infrastructure for a number of startups that have applied to Techstars. They're using a technology called MPC, or multi-party computation. I won't get into that. And they're doing really well. And I think that the whole narrative and the whole story around the regulatory floodgates opening up a bit is going to be really kind to them. And they had relocated the business out of France to New York in the last couple of years. So I think they're in a good place. On a similar note, we saw more signs of TradFi opening up its arms a bit to look at crypto, to look at DeFi. Circle, who are the issuer of the $48 billion stablecoin USDC, they bought the tokenized money market fund Hashnote, or USYC, and that YC stands for yield coin, I think, or to some extent. But USDC is USD coin,
Yep.
USYC is US yield coin, right? I think, or something like that.
Where does the yield come from?
Exactly.
That's a meme. That's a meme I'm seeing with the honking goose. Where does the yield come from? Where does the yield come from? Yeah.
So Circle is saying it will fully integrate USYC with USDC, the $48 billion stablecoin, and that will enable the $1.52 billion USYC to emerge as a preferred form of yield-bearing collateral on crypto exchanges. That's a mouthful. And also with custodians and prime brokers. So USYC has the 3.4% yield. It's for non-US persons only. I checked this out yesterday. I cannot participate. Wonderful.
Oops.
You can buy... But you can buy USYC and earn the yield on Deribit, which is a crypto derivatives exchange, or on Hashnote's own, portal, their own proprietary portal. And KYC is required there. So I had to look at the numbers here because everyone got really excited about tokenized treasury funds. So being able to swap out of pure crypto, out of Bitcoin, ETH, whatever, and into a stable but yield-bearing instrument like a treasury fund, but having that as a token on chain to be able to have all of that market efficiency and that volume, that speed of moving through these assets and transferring these assets around and swapping them effectively. So the BlackRock BIDL fund, BlackRock Universal Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, I think it's called, that news in April of last year was huge. That great, we got BlackRock launching a fund on chain, but it wasn't truly on chain because Securitize still operated on their kind of not old school, but newer school transfer agency platform, and everything is still replicated on the old school registers that transfer agents use. And it wasn't fully available on chain. And so that kind of came in quickly, ran up to about 500 million worth of assets. And that was from April to August of 2024. And then USYC launched in August. And because that's available on Deribit and just open to any crypto native that wants to, or anybody that wants to go buy it on Deribit, that's rocketed up. So while the assets of BIDL have gone from 500 million to 600 million since August, the USYC has ramped up to 1.52 billion. So it's more than doubled. So what I'm seeing here, and this is a conversation I'm having regularly, it feels like, is that where this flow of volume into real world assets is coming from is from crypto natives. It's not coming from TradFi. And it's
Yeah.
coming from where those crypto natives are trading their assets on a regular basis today. And that's why I thought
Hmm.
USYC being on Deribit was, for me, one of the main drivers why it's outpaced BUIDL, which is a BlackRock
Hmm.
branded fund. USYC is
Yeah.
from Hashnote that nobody had heard of
No.
really
Yeah.
all that
Nobody.
much. So
Who are the custodians?
I used to pride myself on how efficient I was with Google, and now it's all ChatGPT. So,
Google's. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
get
Google's
this.
trash.
For institutional grade custody services of USYC, the following providers are available: Copper, right? Or
Okay. Yeah.
Komeinu. So Komeinu was founded in 2018 as a joint venture between Nomura and Ledger,
Okay.
the leading provider of
Nomura,
hardware
like
wallets.
Nomura Securities.
Nomura Securities, yes, the global financial services group.
Yeah.
So you've got some institutional,
That's
depth in
interesting.
there as it is anyway.
Yeah.
So there's, again, another big sign of traditional finance institutions getting very, very involved in this space.
Hmm.
And it's not that widely spoke about. So first up, so it's expected that USYC will become far more available alongside wherever USDC is available. 15 chains, ETH, Solana, Arbitrum, Base, Avalanche, etc. First up, you'll love this one, Laura. Canton Network, a private permissioned, read,
Oh.
centralized database, a private permission blockchain used by traditional financial institutions for real world asset transactions, which is nothing much more than a multilateral trading facility on
Yeah.
private
It's just a.
infrastructure. So it will open up a lot more, and
Okay.
that we'll be seeing USYC trading along USDC wherever USDC is traded. That's the
That
expectation
is
here.
interesting.
So we'll
Now, the
see.
really interesting question is, will that be opened up to U.S. residents with the new administration?
Oh, who knows? You got a whole bunch of like
Mm.
Reg D filing type stuff that needs
Yeah.
to take place.
There's a lot of stuff to go through, but will that eventually open up?
Yeah. And then, hot off the press, last couple of points here. So Ross Ulbricht was pardoned,
He was.
the founder of Silk Road. So I will
Hmm.
express my happiness for Renee Pinnell, who is
Hmm.
the founder of Artisan, one of the Techstars Web3 class of 2024, because one of his best friends from his childhood or his younger days was Ross Ulbricht. So he's very
Very
happy to
happy.
see him released. And we also saw Tornado Cash was taken off the OFAC
Yes.
list.
Just the mixer, not the DAO. Don't mess with the DAO. But you can run everything to the mixer again.
We run everything through the mixer. So in case people don't know, what Tornado Cash was doing is that you can take crypto and send it to the Tornado Cash mixer, and it will
Hmm.
basically hop through a bunch of different crypto addresses so that that mixes up the tracer or puts anyone trying to trace that through a tornado effectively.
Hmm.
But I think Chainalysis have figured out a way to break this or something like that.
Even Zach can do it. Zach XBT does it all the time. It
Okay.
just takes a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's no great shakes. And if you're going to put a lot, I want to get into suggesting who should put what through Tornado Cash.
Yeah. No.
And then there was a couple other things that happened with the Ethereum Foundation with Justin's,
No.
with Justin's
Yeah.
son,
No. Just
with Jamie
where's the
Dimon,
yield,
with
Justin?
Elon Musk.
Where's the yield coming from, Justin? Where's the yield? He's exhausting. Anyway, yeah.
He is. I know. A lot to take place with the Ethereum Foundation.
Yeah.
Vitalik has stepped in and said, listen, we've got, we're going to do something here. And how
Yes.
much of this is kind of like reflecting on the price of ETH versus, is there truly, trouble in paradise there?
Mhm.
I don't know. But I think that's what happens when you try so hard to decentralize, and it's really, really, really hard to govern. It's so
It is.
hard to govern a decentralized network and decentralized initiative, really, in movement, that it's.
Or even try to influence. It's hard when you're trying to completely let it go to everybody else. It's not an enviable position in that way.
So is this, to sum up this conversation, Laura, is this just, where's the yield coming from?
Yeah. Where's the yield? Where's the yield, Justin? Where's the yield?
And I may be dating myself here, but that ad from the 1980s where the old lady drives up to the drive-thru at Wendy's, or not even at Wendy's, but at whatever fast food restaurant it was, and she's like, "Where's the beef?"
I think it's Arby's. Wasn't it Arby's? Or
It was
an
an
Arby's?
ad
I
for
don't.
Wendy's
Oh,
because
okay.
Wendy's had the square burger patties that were,
I remember that.
yes,
Yes.
that were bigger than
remember that.
McDonald's apparently. So we get her back. She's probably
Yeah.
long gone up to the big golden arches in the sky. And where's the yield? We'll
Yeah, where's
see.
the yield?
Okay.
Somebody's gonna make a meme out of that. There's gonna be
They
an
will.
old lady.
They
Let
will.
me
And
let me do that
and-
when I get off of here.
And perhaps a meme coin. I had told Alejandro Gutierrez and a few other friends a long story of what I will just call Ramon Fin de Pueblo. And it's a story for another day, who is another namesake for my Uncle Doug. My Uncle Doug actually makes honey in his backyard and
wow.
has, he's a beekeeper. And I told Alejandro this story with a few others, and they didn't believe me. And Mom and Dad, when they got over yesterday, they brought me 2 jars of Townsend Family honey from Uncle Doug. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to this group that Alejandro's on. And I'm like, I think this needs a meme coin. So we'll see.
I love how you almost said that in like a Trump accent. I think it's gonna be a meme. It's gonna do great. Townsend honey.
Oh,
it's gonna be
dear.
huge.
I know. All right. Well, listen. Thank you, Laura. This is awesome. I love talking about this stuff with you. So I will chat with you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
That does it for this week, folks. You can learn more about the topics we covered in the show notes on our website, moneyneversleeps.ie. Thanks to Laura Walsh for the awesome insights she shared in co-hosting this episode with me. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating and a review on Spotify, Apple, or on moneyneversleeps.ie/rate. Thanks to Conan Brophy from Create Sound for mixing and editing this episode. Conan is an excellent media man to get in touch with when you're thinking about launching your own podcast. As for me, I'm an early stage startup investor in the next version of the internet, and I lead the Techstars Web3 Accelerator. There are plenty of links in the show notes on moneyneversleeps.ie and how to get in touch, so don't hesitate to reach out. Finally, till next time, thanks for listening. See ya!